Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight.
Our News has reaction from those opposition members who withdrew from the House this morning.
Find out why top-ranking police officers were called here to Galvantine's primary school.
Our News is brought to you by Alive, the nation's newest and best LTE network.
Good to be alive.
Welcome to our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquim. Top in news tonight, extraordinary proceedings in Parliament climax with every single member of the opposition being suspended from the House of Assembly moments after it began. And that was just the beginning of a dramatic day as House Speaker Housen Moutry lashed Anglican MP Glenys Hanna-Martin, took personal jabs at PLP leader Philip Brave Davis and told former Chief Clerk Maurice Tynes to rest in peace. Jasmine Brown reports.
Honorable members for the leader of the opposition, the member for Rumkey, Cat Island, and San Salvador, the member for South and Central Andres, and the member for Exuma and Ragged Island. Have your seat. Pursuant to Rule 8. Pursuant to Rule 88.3, the Speaker now orders that the three members withdraw from this Parliament and are not eligible to enter this Parliament again for the next two sittings.
This was the moment that set the tone for what was to come. Cat Island, Rumkey, and San Salvador MP Philip Brave Davis, Exuma's and Ragged Island MP Chester Cooper, and Mangrove Key and South Andres MP Picewell Forbes walked off the floor of the House of Assembly as Moultrie sought to defend the decision he made last week to delay the vote to suspend Hanna-Martin. But their absence did not stop Moultrie, who went on a nearly 40-minute rant. In his crosshairs was retired Chief Clerk Maurice Tynes, who earlier this week expressed concern with what took place in the House of Assembly last Wednesday between Moultrie and Hanna-Martin.
Under the guise of concern for the staff of this institution, the retired clerk, in an apparently politically motivated broadside attack, has justified my statement that trust must be earned. You see, Mr. Retired Clerk, newness is what the doctor ordered to clean up the pus and oozing wounds brought about by contaminated and corrupt thinking in this Parliament.
Moultrie added that for years he thought Tynes was his friend, but his recent comments prove otherwise. He had these cryptic words for the former clerk, whom he claims was only concerned with helping the PLP.
Imagine trusting, waking, and relying on the advice of someone who has now publicly expressed his innermost feelings and the kind of political venom directed at the Speaker in a letter to the editor. Thank you very much, Mr. Retired Clerk. May your soul rest in peace.
He then took aim at Hanna-Martin as he laid out a timeline of events leading up to Hanna-Martin's suspension as he tabled copies of the Hands Guard.
The member for Anglican, who seemed to think that she is entitled, has taken to the social media accusing the Speaker of trying to silence her, when the undisputable, irrefutable, incontrovertible evidence reveals that she has been the most vociferous member and has been permitted by the chair to speak even when points of order are not well taken, and she has been the greatest beneficiary of the chair's generosity.
But Moultrie wasn't finished yet. He then lashed out at Davis, who previously accused Moultrie of being a hater of women.
I want to emphasize to the member for Cat Island, Rumkey, and San Salvador that my wife is an indigenous Bahamian woman, and that I have had, over those 38 years, no reason for divorce.
In the midst of his scathing comments, Moultrie also revealed he has ordered an inquiry into the House rulebook after he says he discovered 3 separate rulebooks and tabled them.
I just need to know, as Speaker, how, in the retired clerk's perfect world of flawless administration and offering accurate, correct, and apolitical advice to my predecessors, did the Parliament end up with multiple, distinctly different, printed and published versions of the rules of procedure.
Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, outside the House of Assembly, those suspended members of Parliament were greeted by dozens of riled-up PLP party supporters who shouted that the Speaker does not own the House, the Bahamian people do. This as PLP leader Philip Brave Davis accused the governing party of taking frightening steps toward a dictatorship. Jared Higgs has that angle.
There was a small crowd of PLP supporters gathered outside the House of Assembly. That's where those opposition members who withdrew headed after they left the House.
After being suspended by House Speaker Halson Moultrie for refusing to take their seats, the three remaining opposition members of Parliament exited the House of Assembly and walked across the street to dozens of Progressive Liberal Party supporters who stood behind barricades in Rawson Square. Waving Glennis placards and wearing PLP paraphernalia, PLP supporters shouted, "This isn't your house, this is the people's house." Among supporters were former PLP MPs Melanie Griffin, Hope Strawn, and Cleola Hamilton. There, party leader Philip Davis informed his named and suspended colleague Glennis Hannah Martin that he too had been suspended. To that, Hannah Martin asked if Moultrie was having a meltdown. Turning to supporters, Davis told them that he, along with Exuma's and Ragged Island MP Chester Cooper and South Andros MP Picewell Forbes, walked out after Davis was repeatedly ignored by the House Speaker as he sought an explanation on why orders were given to deny Hannah Martin access to the House of Assembly.
His statement was so scurrilous, was so despicable. He was attacking a member of the public, cowardly, right? And I just could not take it anymore. So we decided to walk out. While we were walking out, I'm advised, he was telling me to sit down. I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm just withdrawing. I cannot take this anymore. And we walked out. I understand he named us, and he may have suspended us. I'm not worried about that anymore.
Davis told supporters that Moultrie's scurrilous attacks were a frightening move towards dictatorship.
They do not want opposition. No. They cannot stand opposition. And that is the only way they could govern the parliament. They have no plans, they have no vision. Nothing. And here it is. And to hide behind the fact that they don't, this is what they're doing. They're targeting PLPs, they're trying to destroy the PLP, and they're trying to destroy democracy.
And the Bahamas.
We will not let it happen.
No retreat, no surrender. No retreat, no surrender.
Hannah Martin also called Moultrie's comments frightening.
Today's proceedings is evidence that what he did was not in accordance with the rules. And for someone with intelligence and common sense to say, I'll do it again, it really frightens me that that person is presiding over a mature forum called the House of Assembly.
Hannah Martin, who was named and suspended last week following a back and forth with Moultrie, says the House Speaker was very personal in his attack against her.
He proceeded on an assault on me as a member of this House. I've been here 16 years. He's been here 8 months. 16 years, 4 times elected. He went on an assault of me as a member of this House. He became very personal in his assault and his attack on my reputation. And I determined, and he would not let me speak. When I tried to get up to say, Mr. Speaker, take your seat. In those circumstances, I have no regrets walking out. Perhaps I should have done it earlier.
If anything, the Anglican MP says the Speaker's decision to suspend the entire opposition has only strengthened her resolve. She reminded him that authority is absolute.
All authority, whether it be a Speaker, a judge, a parent, a principal, a Prime Minister, a police officer, it's circumscribed by rules and the law. And the Speaker violated the rules and the practices. The nature of his assault on this member was, in my view, unprecedented. I have never seen a Speaker behave in that fashion.
Davis also called the actions of the House Speaker sick and an attack on democracy.
This is a sick display of the role of the Speaker. He's in the fray. He's supposed to be a referee, a judge. What is he doing? Engaging in a dispute, first of all, with me or the members. He's supposed to be refereeing issues between ourselves and the government, not between himself and us or anybody else.
A major point of contention is whether a motion should have been put forth to the members of the House prior to Moultrie naming and suspending Hannah Martin. During his explanation of his ruling, Moultrie stated that the term forthwith allows him a reasonable amount of time to put that motion forward. Davis disagreed. As he exited Rawson Square, the PLP leader left supporters with these words.
We will remain strong.
Reporting for our news, I am Jared Higgs.
Thanks, Jared. Well, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis labeling the opposition's actions in the House of Assembly as disrespectful.
What we witnessed is total disrespect. Even this morning, Mr. Speaker, as you stood and you bowed, it was quite evident that the leader of the opposition showed no respect and stood straight, stiff, without bowing to show respect to you. And he did it on 2 separate occasions. But this cannot be tolerated and must be stopped.
Minnis said the House of Assembly is deserving of honorable behavior by members of Parliament. Behavior, he says, that has not been displayed by opposition members.
And it saddens me, Mr. Speaker, as Prime Minister of this Commonwealth, to have a member continuously show blatant disrespect for our chair, this House, and for other honorable members of this House.
Well, retired Clerk of Parliament Maurice Tyne says the Speaker's performance this morning was disgraceful and that he brought the House of Assembly to a new low he's never seen before. Now, he said, the gloves are off.
He said that I gave him information against the former Prime Minister Hubert Ingram. That was stupid and ridiculous. It never happened.
He served as Clerk of Parliament from 1993 to 2017. And after 24 years of watching the country's lawmakers, including 3 prime ministers, be voted in and out of power, Maurice Tyne says he never thought it would come to this. Him being the topic of scrutiny by the Speaker of the House of Assembly, all because of a letter to the editor in the newspaper.
The letter I wrote to the press, I did not criticize him. I didn't think I criticized him. I was mentioning what I thought ought to have happened in the House of Assembly. But he attacked me personally. And so from now on, I will be personal with him.
Following the House Speaker's comments and subsequent suspension of the entire opposition, several FNM MPs applauded Moultrie for his stance, something Tynes dismissed as nothing more than him being lotioned.
In his conclusions and his comments, he was spiteful, petty, and very ungracious. I don't know why he would do that, but obviously he is insecure. He is very thin-skinned and he can't take criticism.
Moultrie also accused Tynes of actions that he says were politically motivated and working as an operative for the PLP. Then there was the Speaker's recommendation that Tynes clear up why there are multiple distinctly printed and published versions of the 2005 Rules of Procedure. Tynes said no problem, explaining that there was an error when the revised rules were being printed at the government printing department.
In the printing, they made several mistakes with the numbering. The numbering was out of sequence. He made a lot of that as if someone that was done. There was some nefarious reason for doing that.
He said every member sitting in Parliament got a copy of the correctly numbered version upon entering. The House Speaker said he thought Tynes was his friend and should have spoken to him privately instead of putting his views in the newspaper. Well, as for that friendship,
I don't know. We knew each other. I don't know. I wouldn't call us friends. We played basketball.
Michael, Member of Parliament Miriam Emanuel, making some shocking comments as she sought to support the Speaker's decision to suspend Hannah Martin. Emanuel insisted Moultrie was well within his rights to suspend the Anglican MP, adding that if Hannah Martin wants to be treated like a lady, she needs to act like one.
One of the things that my father often say to us as his daughters, if you want to remain a lady, if you want to remain treated as a lady, then you must behave like a lady. And he said, if there ever comes a time when you have to come back to this house and say to me as your father that your husband shook you or give you a slap or punch you in your mouth, I will analyze, while I listen to you, but I will analyze the consequences that would have cost your husband to probably shake you, slap you, or punch you in your mouth.
Emmanuel's comments were met by gasps by some and chuckles by others as she ended by saying the Speaker has been more than tolerant when dealing with Hannah Martin in the House of Assembly on many occasions. However, her controversial comments did not end there.
Simply what my father was saying, that we ought to respect each other, have respect for your priest, your provider, and your protector. So, in this honorable house, it's no exception from a marriage relationship. If you, as a woman, want to come up in your husband's face and behave like you're a man, my father said, then you will get manhandled.
In other news, the government is seeking to borrow $90 million from the Inter-American Development Bank for coastal management, airport infrastructure, and developing appropriate jobs. That's according to Finance Minister Peter Turnquest, who tabled a resolution to borrow the funds in the House of Assembly today. This comes 8 months after the government announced that it would have to borrow $722 million. Then in November, government announced that it was seeking a new bond deal valued at $750 million. In Parliament today, Turnquest gave a breakdown of how the $90 million will be spent.
The purpose of financing or promoting economic and social development in the Bahamas. And whereas the bank has agreed to grant to the government financing up to the amount of $90 million in the currency of the United States of America for the purpose of financing projects in support of coastal management, airport infrastructure, and developing appropriate skills for jobs as follows: climate resilient coastal management infrastructure, $35 million.
Turnquest added that money will also be spent on creating natural barriers to address coastal awareness, the construction of seawalls, the improvement of airport terminals, and the construction of new facilities for the Ministry of Labor. Still to come on our news, what drove taxi drivers to protest this morning? The details are after this break.